here, man. Let's talk about it. This is an educational scene for people who don't understand. I've always been someone who was blessed, I told you, with a gift. And I was educated early, and word to my Uncle Irv, who showed me that it was okay to think outside the box. It was okay to question things that didn't make sense. Because you grow up in a world where if you think about things that to you that don't make sense and everybody else believes in it, they make you look like you're crazy. Now, many of you don't understand that you believe that there's such thing as, if they say the word serpent, and it means snake. Right? It slithers on the ground, and that's what we know it as. Snake. In other words, the serpent. But serpent and snake are two different things. And more of the same. You see, serpents were a different being of races. Different race, according to texts in the Torah, the serpent was a race of beings that was outside of the belief of the Creator. Created serpents, created all life, but they believed they were more special than these humans who was given more power than the others. Right? So you hear the tale about Adam and Eve, and when you hear the tale of Adam and Eve, it's about one man named Adam and one woman named Eve, and they had lived in this garden of Eden, and then a serpent came in and began to talk and gave them an apple and explained to them that they should be covering themselves because they were naked, but they didn't know they were naked because they didn't even, no one ever told them anything about themselves. So they felt shame. What they would call their private parts would call their shame. Cover your shame. You're not supposed to be seen like that. So when the female started covering herself in front of Adam, he was like, whoa, what's going on here? They were covering themselves because they weren't supposed to even know that they were naked. They didn't know anything because no one had ever told them. God didn't tell them that. But the serpent knew that they were naked and was telling them, like, you shouldn't be like out here like this. You should be covered up. So next thing you know, the serpent manipulates Eve and impregnates her. So there's two babies born. There's Cain and there's Abel. For this deception, God punishes the serpents. The race of serpents would have to crawl on their bellies for the rest of their lives. For this intrusion and intervention into the Garden of Eden, this trespass. So, serpents had to crawl around in their bellies. Now, the truth of this matter is, this is all taken from an Egyptian story, and it is all screwed up. Because they tell you Adam and Eve are the first people on earth, right? According to their testaments, according to their words. So if Adam and Eve are the first people on earth, and the only people on earth, right? How does Cain get cast out when at this point it's just him? He slew his brother Abel, so Abel's no longer living. So he's cast out. So it's only Adam and Eve and Cain. Abel's not even born yet. He's gone. Cast out into the world. And as he's cast out into the world, he says, hey, if I go out there, they're going to take my life. So he puts a mark on him. God puts a mark on Cain so that Cain could walk the earth and no one would ever bother him. But who would be out there to bother him if they were the only people on earth? Then he goes to Nod and finds a wife. Where did this mystery woman come from? So, where's there a town of Nod? What's in Nod? It's just spotty storytelling. That's a very critical point in the story. How would there be people in Nod if Adam and Eve didn't create them, if they're the first people on earth? This doesn't add up. It does not make sense. But yet it is in the Bible in black and white. And they say it as if it's common sense. So where did this mystery wife for Cain come from? So if she's the wife, that means she had a mother and father, right? In the land of Nod. An area that was already named Nod. Who named it Nod? Was it God? So this tells you that something is wrong here. So Chris G, something's wrong in the storytelling. What is wrong? Well, the story is all backwards. There's the tribe of Eve and the tribe of Adam. So there were tribes that lived in Hades, which is the underground tower they called it near hell. They called it Hades. Hot as Hades. Hades was the underground tower that people lived in. They lived there. They went underground because it was not safe to be above land at that time. Due to the fires and the storms and everything with the dinosaurs extinction, people moved underground to survive when the asteroid hit and destroyed a lot of the land. So they lived underground for a long time and created houses down there and damn near the Earth's crust, which they call Hades. And in these underground rivers, they had water so they could survive with underground rivers of water. The underground rivers, deep under the soil, kept the people alive. And when it was safe to come up, the tribe of Eve, which was women, and the tribe of Adam sent two of theirs together to go inhabit the new earth. So the Bible is the telling of the earth after the Big Bang, the big asteroid that hit and took out everything and wiped out a lot. This is that Big Bang. So, like I told you, things were told out of order. If you read the Bible, it tells you there was a reign way before Adam and Eve of a ruler named Baal, Baal. And there was many followers of Baal. They thought he was a god. They looked up to him. He had kingdoms. He had doggone statues for him. This is all documented. He's mentioned in the Bible. Jacob's wife gave birth and died giving birth to their son when he changed his name to Israel. And once he changed his name to Israel, and because he was an Israelite, he changed his name to Israel. Something very interesting happened there. His wife on his dying bed wanted their child to be named a certain name, and he wouldn't name it that. He defied even his wife on her dying wish. Why did he do that? Because the name she chose, she was worshiping Baal. Don't believe me. Research it for yourself. And you say to yourself, who the heck is Baal? Why would she be worshiping him? Never mentioned him before. Because he predates Adam and Eve, who was supposed to be the first people on earth. So you have to question everything. So the snake and the serpent are entirely different. Snakes was always around. The serpents were punished and made to walk around on their bellies like snakes. So they call snakes serpents. Like I told you before, I learned from a greater book, a world knowledge that goes way beyond the lines, goes way outside of the margins. So now that you know, hopefully, you understand now. Chris G said, I'm glad you made it home safe. I'm glad I made it home safe too, Chris G. I didn't think I was in any danger to make it home, but since you said it like that, I'm glad I made it home safe too. Unless the federal government was after me, which they might very well be. Oh, the black Zionist wants to teach. Okay. He said the word Hades was never mentioned in the Bible. That's because the Bible is a translation from the Torah, right? But the Bible you're reading is a translation from the Weinstein edition. The Weinstein edition comes from German. So the King James version that you're reading comes from the translation of the Weinstein edition, which is written in German. So you're getting a translation that's coming from the German edition, right? So if you're not reading from the Quran or the Torah, which is all supposed to come from, because the Quran is just a translation of the Torah. But the Torah seems to have a lot more than even the Quran holds. And all of this is just translations or what they took from it that they liked and left what they didn't. What you miss is small details that are very huge. You see, people spoke in absolute. It's the dialect of the tongue. In English, and this is the trick of the devil, is to create so much confusion by creating so many words that mean the same thing. The English language was a deceptional language. To have so many words in English, that's why most people here in America speak it. It's very confusing. You have so many words that mean the same thing, but just spoken differently. So you can never really understand the meaning. Like for instance, if I said, man, that's bad, you don't know what I mean. I could be saying, man, that's awful. Or I could be like, man, that's cold. That's good. You see what I'm saying? It's the translation. It's the delivery of how you're saying it. But if I was to write it out, you would have to guess what I meant. And that's the confusion. And that's the trick of the devil. Now, in Semitic language, Arabic language, a lot of translation can't be misconstrued because what the word says, it means. So when you see it translated in the Bible, it's very jaded. It's very weird. Like, it's like, okay, could it mean that? Could it mean this? You don't know, right? So as you read it in the Bible, and it could be meaning this or it could mean that. But if you read it in the Quran or you read it in the Torah, it means only one thing. And it is very clear. There is no wiggle room. So you know that you're being deceived when you read another version, and then you have to make the decision on what it actually means. When it's clear that it means only one thing, when the same thing is in another language. In that other language, they say, oh no, this is clear what it meant. This is what it meant. And it was very clear. There is no wiggle room. But when you transfer it to English, they make it sound like, well, it could be either or. It's easy to throw around the word lies when you've been lied to your entire life. You don't know what's the truth or what's a lie, do you? So All I did was present to you and lay out the foundations of what you should be questioning. I'm not saying believe me. I'm saying research it yourself and come back and tell me what I had wrong. You've been lied to your entire life for a reason. Wouldn't it be cool to know why you would lie to? Wouldn't it be cool to research that and find out why someone was trying to deceive you? Wouldn't it be cool to know and ask these questions? I mean, it's a pretty simple question, right? Where did these mystery women come from? Ask your reverend, pastor, bishop. Say, bishop. Now let me get this mathematic right? It's Adam and Eve. There is no Steve. They had a first song named Cain, right? Then they had another baby called Abel, right? Cain took out Abel. So now they back to Cain, right? They back to one. All right, back to one. All right, so now they get rid of Cain because he's too dangerous. Send him out into the world, right? So then they have Abel later, right? So they only got one boy. Cain running around out there. Then he meet him a woman. Yeah, where does mystery woman come from? The land of Nod. Who named it Nod? Did Adam and Eve go outside the Garden of Eden and name it Nod? Who named it Nod? Nod. Okay, oh God named it Nod. Okay, all right, that's cool. But who are these people? Because he got married and everything over there. So there had to be a pastor. Somebody had to marry him. So there was a whole land in Nod. Where these mystery people coming from? Right? Common sense. So, on the Patreon, we will go more into this and figure out why you were lied to. Meanwhile, you try to prove me I'm wrong. He said they were the only people allowed in the Garden of Eden. Doesn't mean they were the only people. Okay, I'm willing to believe that. Well, let's go back to Genesis. They said Adam and Eve were the first man and woman on earth, right? Am I correct? Mmm. Something that tastes good. Okay. RC said I'm hilarious. Okay. I'm trying to see what's hilarious. My man Joseph tried to tell me something. Adam and Eve had other kids. Who were their other kids? So you're saying Cain married his sister? How? He found his wife in the land of Nod. Not in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve didn't leave the Garden of Eden. Well, they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, but they wasn't in the land of Nod. Not for a minute. Really? You really believe that? You really believe that? Okay. If you believe it, then prove it. Adam and Eve had more kids, and that an outcast, which was Cain, had a wife that was the son or the daughter of Adam and Eve. After he was just banished? Nah, I don't think they would defy God like that.
Pieces, man. It's only a couple of them, and
Hmm. There were a tribe called Eve, the tribe of Eve and the tribe of Adam. Adam and Eve, which happened to be their name, they were named after their tribe. Those two were chosen to bring forth the children of the new earth. When they call it the Garden of Eden, because the garden that out of all the destruction from the asteroid, and after all the water had cleared and the destruction, the garden was untouched. It had a tree, which was called the tree of life, had apples on it. They could just live off the tree. It had all this different everything on this tree. But the Garden of Eden was the only thing that wasn't a wasteland. The blades of grass was clear, pure, it was high enough where the Garden of Eden wasn't disturbed. Adam and Eve were chosen to start their life together on the new land. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm still up. It's not even 2 o'clock, I don't think. Well, 3 o'clock. But I'm about to lay it down in a second. I just thought I'll let you know a little real. So anyway, you know what I know right now? So I'm gonna dip out and get some rest and finish eating. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. One.